General Jack Keane is here on a Monday morning, and sir, good day to you. Important stuff on the line. You heard from that Iranian, and Trey's reporting there. Here is a 35-year-old mechanic in Iran as well.
You know, before we used to sell one item for 100,000. Now that same item has become 200,000 or 250,000 tomans. But salaries have not increased that much. With this dollar rate, people's pockets have become lighter than before the war. Before the war, people had fuller pockets. Now their pockets are emptier. Customers come, ask the price, and leave.
You wonder about the squeeze, and it is real. I would remind our viewers that Fidel Castro held out for 50 years on an island, so I don't know what comes of this. What I do understand from the president's perspective coming out of China is that he wants the strait reopened for all countries who do business there. But I'm reading this, General, 30 of the 33 missile sites in the strait still remain, and access has been restored to 30 of 33. Is the U.S. military operating from square one now after this quote-unquote ceasefire, General, starting now?
Well, let's just start with that interview you just had. Certainly our empathy goes out to the suffering of the Iranian people, but believe me, the regime doesn't care about that interview you just played. I mean, where they're coming from is they believe they can stick with this and run the clock out. And that's what they're trying to do right now, even with modifying their negotiating position. They want to run this clock out, increase the political economic pressure on the president. And they just don't care about the suffering of people. What do they care about? They care about, one, the survival of the regime and themselves. That's what this is all about. And if they get a negotiated deal, they think that they'll get financing to help recover the regime. That is what their objective is here. Where are we? The president has exhibited a huge amount of patience here since the ceasefire on April the 8th. And we've tried to work a deal with these guys, and it just doesn't seem possible. And where we are, we're on the cusp of going back into military operations. When we stopped, Bill and Dana, we had 2 weeks to go, a little less than 30% of the targets. Those targets remain, but we have better intelligence now after these 5-6 weeks. So that target list is expanded. It's considerably more comprehensive. It'll be a combined operation with the United States and Israel going full throttle, all out, no half measures here whatsoever. And when those target lists are complete, and they will consist of the rest of the weapons that are remaining, to indicate some of what you just mentioned, to include what remains of nuclear, and also all the organizations that sustain the regime. We have better intelligence on locations and other things associated with that. And certainly they're going to be a comprehensive target list in of itself. And then a grouping of targets that really deal with all of Iran's revenue sources to force an economic collapse of the regime. Obviously, the Cargill and blockade is having significant impact. But this attack will even further aggravate their ability to gain revenue source. Without revenue, it's hard to see how this regime can survive. So we put it on a path. And I think at some point at the end of this thing, after we open the Straits of Hormuz and begin to get it secure, offer the IRGC leaders, you know, a free trip out to a place of their choice and see if we can work a deal, that kind of a deal with them, and make some positive changes in the regime. So yes, we are on the cusp of returning to full throttle combat operations.
One of the things that happened over the weekend was an attack on a nuclear plant in UAE, in the Emirates, and this was posted saying that the terrorist targeting of the Barakah clean nuclear power plant, whether carried out by the principal perpetrator or through one of its agents, represents a dangerous escalation and a dark scene that violates all international laws and norms in criminal disregard for the lives of civilians in the UAE and its surroundings. Sir, if the Situation Room, where the National Security Council will meet tomorrow, was an emergency room, how would you triage this? What is the biggest problem that the United States needs to try to solve, and what will they work through tomorrow?
Well, I think we've had a very good plan from the outset, and we decided to go to a ceasefire because the Iranians were making some noises about willing to negotiate. That plan, if anything, has improved considerably over the last 5 or 6 weeks, as I've stated. So our people know what to do, and they certainly know how to do it. And there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to be able to accomplish the original objectives we set for ourselves here. And that's make sure they don't have a nuclear capability, dismantle their ballistic missile and drone program rather comprehensively, and have them not be in a position to continue to be predators in the region and support for proxies. And I think, while we're not going to put ground troops in to force a regime change, I think we can do just about everything that's possible to put them on a path for that regime change. And I would hope that the CIA and the Mossad are working very hard here to undermine the regime and also to provide any assistance we can to the Iranian people. I'm just making the assumption that that is a corollary program that's paralleling what we're about to do with military operations.
So it is a critical week, and we await the next step. General, it's good to start the week with you. Thank you, Jack Keane, for coming back today.
Yeah, great talking to you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.